So there's many times in our lives where we get caught up in maybe a past thought, a past addiction, a cycle which we feel we're stuck in and we can't break free of. And I had a story I wanted to share about one of my first experiences in that and how it all came about and how I got free of it. And then I want to explain how you can also use the spell. I did it tonight, and it was phenomenal to say the least. It's been enhanced since the first time I had to do it, and I'll explain what I did tonight and what I would do. But back when I was 19, I actually it might have even been, well, about 19. There was a lot of psychological things that's going on in my life, and there was some form of depression, self-hate, and obsession, and I wouldn't appreciate or love myself, and I was always so focused on what was going on that I wanted to happen that wasn't happening, instead of seeing and perceiving the reality in which I had gratification for what was happening. And I got to a point where I was hating myself, so mad at, because at that point I was a Christian, and I was so mad at God, and my guardians, my spirits, everything around me. I thought none of it cared about me. Why am I've been asking for this, I'm doing this, and nothing's going my way, and blah, blah, blah. So I basically ended up doing like a blind evocation on a dirt road, saying basically getting rid of all my followers, all the spirits of helping me, and blah, blah, blah. Basically exiling everything away from me. So my defenses were down, I was depressed, and I ended up getting a nag on me. And what would happen the following months was I'd be waking up at 3 in the morning to seeing things flying around, like orbs and spirits. I'd always feel like I was watched, so I'd always hang out with people all the time, over and over, whether it was go out or have someone over, just to make sure like I didn't have to be in my own place. And my cat actually would go at the top of the stairs and watch down the whole entire night. And it eventually got to the point where like I had to have the light on. I was taking sleep aid, and like regardless, I was being like watched and stared at, and not have to go move where I was sleeping at. And even then, it was just so uncomforting, and just that was driving me crazy. Then I started not being able to get any sleep, and the cycle kept going on and on to a point where uh, it got out of control. Um, One night I woke up and I felt like I was being watched. As I turned over to my right, I saw this girl who was in like all white with black hair over her whole face. It's kind of like The Grudge. I've actually never seen that movie or anything, or The Ring, but that was a perception of it. And this is before I even saw any of that stuff. And then it was like staring at me, like right next to my bed, and I was terrified. I actually covered up my face the rest of the night, and didn't come out till the sun came out, and I was just horrified. I was so stunned. There's nothing I could say or do. So I ended up looking. That was one of the things that actually sparked me looking deeper into kind of more exorcism type of things. And I remember going on a walk with a friend, and they never talked to me about spirituality or anything like that, and I never did with them either, because back then, at that moment in time, I wasn't so open about all my experiences. And they ended up telling me, like, I don't know how I can say this to you, but there's something on you. There's this girl on you. And once they said that, it all clicked, that it all was real, all this was happening, and like that it was draining me. And like for her to have the eyes to see that and me not tell anyone was wild. And I even had a friend one time we were partying pretty crazy. And when we were going out, he was on a psychedelic. We went by this one area, and he saw the girl there, and he's like, "Oh my god, everyone see that!" And like saw the thing there and was flipping out. like went crazy, and he started having dreams of her, and like it was just bringing to light more and more of this thing. So what I ended up doing at that time was I went to a church and I grabbed my journal and I wrote in it all the things I forgave myself for, all the things of my past that I didn't like, that I wanted to get rid of. And I put all my energy into it and I burned it and let that go. And that ended up, and then I asked for my spirit guide to come back and help me out. And then I cleansed my house, and I ended up being able to heal and be freed of that and broke free of that depression. And so what I did today, because there's some old memories, I guess you could say, where I look at, I wish I would have been who I am now back then, or this regret, this regret. And so I thought today would be a perfect time for me to, so what I did was I put on some calming meditation music and I went outside underneath the stars. As I was sitting there, I called Opal, Raphael, and Marvis to be around me, to help me be able to go really deep within myself, to write all those things out that I need to heal from. And so the cool thing is like when I called on them, like when I call on those three in particular, they always take me to this campfire where I'm sitting around a campfire at night with them. And so I'm writing this out because this is my evocations and everything. So I'm writing this thing out. And then when I get done writing it all, so what I do is I'd write, I forgive myself for, and then just write. And then I forgive myself for, and then boom, I forgive myself for, boom. And just keep writing and writing and writing. And the last thing I wrote is, I am now released from all binds of any person, spirit, or being, or situation that is holding me back from my greatest potential. And then I wrote that right there at the bottom, and I folded it 3 times, the power of 3. And then I walked over on the other side of the hill, and as I was walking over there, I saw in between the forest a campfire way out, and there are these kids like running around having a good time. I could hear them laughing, and it just like made me really feel awesome. Like I connected these spirits, and then like I went down and I put all my intent into this paper, projecting it through my right hand into the paper of all that energy I'm exercising out of myself for forgiveness. I did that and did that and did that until it felt so great I needed no more. And as I was doing that, the music, like the little meditation, like frequency I was listening to, when I would push it in, the music would stop. And it was so wild and so baffling. So I just kept pushing and pushing and pushing until I felt it was all out. Got my thing and burned it, and then sat down over it. And as I was doing that, it felt like the triforce of those 3 spirits were around me, pushing their energy into me. And then I felt the fire in front of me, and I felt like I was in front of that campfire for my evocation. So, I mean, overall, that was a synchronicity of like huge healing, huge this and that. And so I just wanted to share to you a way to get rid of those past, whether it's like a past energy or a nag or poltergeist activity along that line. Now, poltergeist activity and everything else, when it comes to something like that, like that's not only just you, but externally, you want to use your sage and Polysantos and any other spirit you want to call on. You're definitely by yourself and just blast light and do a full cleanse, to stop the situation from occurring anymore. But it's just a great way to exercise those things outside of you. And I like the lighting for this video because it's very calming. So peace with you. Thank you all for watching. Like and just subscribe. And may you be able to delete any programming from your reality that is holding you back from your greatest manifestation.